Welcome to the Life After Sesh podcast. Stories from before, during, and after the sesh.
So, I'm from Cork in Ireland. I've been a musician for most of my working life. I first came to Ibiza in 2008. I started working in a bar in San Antonio, a lovely place called the Fisherman's. It's gone now. But yeah, coming into this wonderful, mad, hedonistic island still is one of the best things I've ever done. But it's not without its ups and downs. When I started work, I'd not really kind of any idea of what this place was like. I'd not been here. I'd obviously heard various different things. But before I came here, I was playing with a drum and bass DJ on the mainland. I was like, oh, this is something I'm really enjoying, so maybe I'll come here and give it a go. And of course, when I got here, I immediately got into a rock and roll band and didn't play with DJs for years. But anyway, it has been a journey, I must say. A lot of fun, a lot of really wonderful days, nights, weekends, and sometimes entire weeks of having fun with friends and general carry on. But it's also, you gotta be careful, for sure. When obviously working in a bar out here, you're surrounded by alcohol, the whole lot, and can fall into various temptations. Absolutely, when it's quite literally on top in front of you. First band is the Put the Maya project with Rick DeVito was his band. He was a great Dutch singer, passed away a couple of years ago. He used to tour with Tina Turner and Sly and the Family Stone. Great musician. He was like, boom. But he owned a bar, so he was like, yeah, come play at my bar. I'm going to pay you in drink. It's your wages. Just go up and help yourself. All right then.
Okay. So how long did that band last?
It lasted about 3 years. Lucky enough, I mean, apart from poor Rick, God bless him, I'm still lucky enough to play with all the rest of the guys in a wonderful one called Fuel Pressure Regulator.
How many bands are you in?
Six at the moment.
How many have you been in?
At the record, at one time.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's since you came to Ibiza.
Some bands last longer than others. You know, interpersonal relationships always mean that these things generally have a shelf life. I would say between 20 and 25 at a rough count without going into them soon.
Okay, so what projects are you involved with at the moment?
At the moment, I've got a wonderful one called Musicana. We play Ibiza Rocks every Monday. That's great musicians playing over wonderful music every Monday. Tuesdays, of course, you have the jam session here at a Bango, and that's an open gathering. Everyone is invited. It's just the only rule is no alcohol.
Actually, tell people who don't live in Ibiza what iBango is, because it's kind of it's a bit special, really, isn't it? To explain to people what goes down and what the vibe is, and yeah.
So yeah, I first moved to Bangor about 7 years ago, and Trace Harris was running a wonderful jam session here on the Tuesdays, and all inclusive, and everyone could come, bring their instruments, and the only rule is that there's no alcohol. And we've been running the Tuesdays ever since 7 years since I've been here, and we've just kept that format because it just makes things easy. It's no hassle, no trouble, no expectations of anything, and it just keeps things at a nice level here. So yeah, it's first and foremost, it's a wonderful space full of weird and wonderful, crazy people. Um, we all like to live here, call it home. But also on the Tuesdays, we open it up for a jam, and people can come then and experience some interesting alternative, free, free entertainment, and yeah.
Well, that's as rare as rocking horse shit on this island.
I know exactly.
So, yeah, we going back, we were looking at the projects you're involved with. So you're also involved with the White Isle Orchestra.
Yes, this has been going 5 years now. It's a great project. We just did Pasha for their 50th anniversary opening party. We just did Nikki Beach for their opening party. So that's a big project. It can be anything up to 22 people in the band we've had at one point when we did a festival in the UK. So yeah, it's high energy, house music, but with, full orchestra doing, giving it some love.
So let's go back to when you came to Ibiza in 2008.
Yeah.
You said that you wanted to work with DJs, ended up in a rock and roll band, getting paid with alcohol. What happened from there?
I was also between that. I was also working in a bar. So that was for the first summer.
Was that for money or for pints?
Actually, it worked out as both. So yes, I was working when I wasn't gigging. I was working in the bar, and it's a late night environment. But we can't really sleep during the day too much out here. So yes, combination of playing 3 or 4 nights a week, or else working in bars. The other nights or the other days, being surrounded by so much free alcohol generally had ended up having a more adverse effect on me, where I found that the drinking was becoming more frequent. I never did massive huge sessions, but it was always it was starting to creep up.
How did you notice it was creeping up? What was going on?
Well, I think this is really in hindsight, because when you're in the moment, you don't see it happening to you. Oh, this is grand, this is fine, la 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 la, and everything is fine. It's only, I think, until you reach a certain moment, and then after that moment, you can look back and say, oh yeah, this should have been a red flag, or this should have been a kind of a wake-up call. But when you're in the flow, you don't notice that. I think in kind of anyone's journey who has experience with overindulging it with alcohol or any other substances, if they are lucky, there's a moment in your life where you get a kick in the teeth by life, and that can be soft or hard depending how far you pushed it previously, I think, but if you can get past that, then you can look back and say, right, things led up to that moment and I just didn't see them at the time. I mean, for myself, it was having a daytime session and the session carried on into an evening session, And then, shall we say, there was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding with a person in the bar, and that ended up escalating. And the long story short of it, I will bore you with the details, but I got a punch in the face from a bouncer who was in the right, and I ended up having to go and sleep it off in a ditch, and then sober enough to knock on my ex-girlfriend's door and ask for help, which he did. Very well.
Ouch.
And yes, and then, and I'll thank you for this, got onto my family and told them that I was in a sorry state and I needed to have a word with myself. So once I sober enough to make my way home, I had a long 4 or 5 hour walk home. And
Oh shit! What time of the year was this?
this was actually, it wasn't too hot. It was like the 2 or 3 days before New Year's Eve. So and it was a warm day, but it wasn't midsummer. So luckily,
You wouldn't be here.
luckily it wasn't in the middle of summer. But still, I wouldn't say it was the most pleasant of walks. But I had to have a talk with myself. And understand that this isn't a road that can continue to go on, because I was just, getting yourself into trouble from entirely your own actions it's no fun, and feeling terrible. And so, yeah, I had to make a decision at that point, and I stopped. I was like, right, I'm going to stop the drink. And that New Year's Eve, I stayed at home and on my own, watched a movie, had an early night's sleep, and started the new year with a determination born out of the shame that I had from letting myself down in the experience that I had over the previous couple of days. So it was a realization. I think it was because, I mean, up to that I had been drinking, not loads, but continually at a low to medium level. Now I suppose that's relative, and I am Irish. So yeah, anyway, it was a constant thing. So like I said, once you're in it, you don't feel it. Um, so I think for me it was easily a month after I quit drinking that I kind of woke up in the morning. I was like, wow, I feel fresh. I feel great, and enthusiastic for the day. I was like, is this what normal feels like? I was like, wow, this is great. Um, so yeah, it was both a shock and a good realizing that this is what the normality feels like, and a bit of sobriety for a change, and it was good. Um, and I was able to, I, you know, pull myself back from doing something seriously damaging to myself. I feel I was lucky. Um, I've never, I cannot say that I've hit the rock bottom on the drinking things, because I know it's still there if if it happens. So I can always see that abyss is always there, and but I was able to pull myself back from actually falling into it, with the help of family and friends, that I was lucky, There have been friends over the years that haven't been as lucky, as we all know, So um, I've considered myself fortunate. Um, at that time, it was a good decision. I'd just gotten involved in a big production, the White Island Orchestra, and that was going to take a lot of work. And it was right, you can continue on this path of waking up feeling crap and just getting through the day with promise of some drinks at the end of the night, or get cracking, put the work in. And luckily, I was able to find the strength, because it does take it. Like, it's one of the hardest things, apart from maybe giving up cigarettes. Like, that's even harder. But yes, uh, it's been a journey and throughout. Um, it took, like I said, it took a while to pull the head out of the ass. But once I did, I was able to like focus on the benefits of feeling good about myself in my head, and everything is connected as well. I mean, if you're not feeling great in your head, you're going to have stomach issues, and all these things go hand in hand. So once I was able to kind of make that conscious change in my lifestyle and in my outlook in life, things became easier. Absolutely.
How does that tie in with you being a musician? Because it seems that people who go into the abyss are quite often creative people.
Tortured soul, absolutely. Part of the creative process, and there's nothing nothing more creative sometimes than a bit of self-generated angst over your own actions. Like, damn, I did that. Oh. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's not worth it. The things, if you can be creative by being in a happier, more productive space, generally the quality of the product that comes out at the end of the day is more enduring and longer lasting than something that is just pissed off at the moment.
I mean, did you ever look back on some of the stuff you got up to and cringe? Because you did mention before the camera started rolling about when you got punched in the face, what you had to do the following day.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I had a concert on the back of a truck that was being driven around San Antonio for the Flower Power Party, back when you could still do things like that. So yeah, great band, uh, uh, but we were all put up in this truck and driven around, from Rita's all the way up the West End, all the way around it with the lights and everything. And I had a big bruise at the side of my head that I had to cover up with this this shawl. So I was down like this, like the coat with the cape over myself, and feeling sorry. So I was like, oh no, hi, hi. But yeah, but things in time heals things, the bruises phase, and the ego repairs itself. And put it as a learning project. I can look back at that time, not one of my finer moments, but it was a catalyst. It was a catalyst to enter into a new phase and find, a better self with a more cohesive worldview. How not to fuck things up. Yeah, it's a work in progress, but it always is.
So, what have you got going on at the moment?
Yeah, so we've got Musicana Mondays here, Tuesdays. That's Lydia's, that smokehouse place. That's a great venue, great burgers. Yeah, playing there. Do lots of recording as well, various different DJs. Do a bit with the Melon Bomb guys, Dylan Debut, name a couple. Um, yeah, uh, there's a lot of work here in the summer. being flexible and being the flow, and things change every week. But I get a lot of, are you free Friday? Are you free Sunday? Something is coming, the wedding is coming. It's like, yeah, absolutely, let's do it, So the summer is, you need to be on your toes. And I can't really afford like missing days from, being on the sesh anymore. Can't do it.
Well, Alex, I think that summarises it perfectly, really. So thanks for taking the time to talk about your life after sesh.
My pleasure. Yeah.
Life After Sesh aims to promote safer and more mindful partying, better mental hygiene, and a deeper connection between party people.